Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and day 2 of the NFL Combine just ended. So in today's video, just want to give you guys my takeaways and my reaction to the Combine. Want to talk about the DBs and tight ends. Those were the two position groups that worked out at the Combine today. Before we get into today's video, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. Alright, so the day got started with cornerbacks running the 40-yard dash, and a couple of guys stood out to me during the 40-yard dash by cornerbacks and during cornerback drills. Let's start with Maxwell Hairston, cornerback out of Kentucky. This guy was actually selected to us by Field Yates, I'm pretty sure, in his recent mock draft. It was either Field Yates or Mel Kiper. Can't remember exactly, but they had him going to us at 29, and that was an interesting pick, not gonna lie. That was very interesting. I've seen a lot of guys go to our pick, like a lot of random guys too. Well, not random, but guys I wouldn't have expected to go at our pick, like Jahad Campbell, for example, right? He's a really good linebacker, and honestly, at this point, I would not mind taking him at 29 at all. He's an absolute dog, so if he's there, I would definitely consider drafting him. But he's a guy that I've seen projected to go to us. Nick Emmanwori, who I'll talk about a little bit later on in this video. I've seen him go to us in a couple mock drafts. And then Maxwell Hairston, he's another guy that I have seen go to us in mock drafts, specifically in Field Yates or Mel Kiper Jr.'s recent mock draft. So Maxwell Hairston, 5'11", 183 pounds, so a little bit undersized. However, this guy has tremendous speed. He ran a 4.28 at the Combine today, which is absolutely incredible speed. He shows that speed on tape. Like, that speed shows up on tape, and haven't gone to the cornerback position, tape yet. Right now, I'm studying the receiver film, and there's some really good receivers in this draft, man. So really excited to talk about some of the receivers tomorrow when the receivers are working out tomorrow. But there's some really good receivers in this draft. But after the receivers, I'll probably start to study the DBs a whole lot, right? But Maxwell Hairston, he is an interesting cornerback prospect. He has really good makeup speed, and it shows on film, man. Really good overall speed in general. Had a 1.48 10-yard split, which is really good. He also had a good vert and broad. Had a 39.5 vertical jump and a 10.09 broad jump, which is really, really good. So this guy, man, really explosive. Pretty solid athleticism. The size, a little undersized. However, he has really good burst. He looked fluid on the field. Has really good hip movement, man. He ain't stiff. This guy, man, Maxwell Hairston, he is a pretty solid cornerback prospect. Now, I do think we're going to sign a cornerback in free agency because this is a pretty good free agent cornerback class, and I feel like we want a veteran to put across from Marshawn Lattimore. However, if we miss out on drafting a cornerback, or not drafting a quarterback, sorry, signing a cornerback in free agency, Maxwell Hairston, he could be a guy that we may consider drafting at 29. So definitely be a lookout on him, right? If we do not sign a cornerback in free agency, of course. But he is a guy that definitely caught my eye at the Combine today. Next guy I want to talk about is Darian Porter, cornerback out of Iowa State. This guy, I feel like would be a really good fit in Joe Wood Jr.'s and Dan Quinn's defense. He fits what they want at the cornerback position. He offers size, length, and speed. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. That is really good size right there. Had a vertical jump of 36.5 and a broad of 10.11. Not bad at all. 33-inch arms. That is really, really good, man. So once again, he offers that size and length. And his speed is off the charts. 4.3 speed. That is really good, along with a 148 10-yard split, man. So he has that explosiveness. He has that speed. And he has the length, right? So he's a guy that will probably go day 2, maybe day 3. But I think he'll probably be a round 3 pick. Once again, haven't watched any of these cornerback prospects yet, right? But I'll get to that soon. But just basing off the Combine, right? He looked really good in on-the-field drills. Looked really smooth in the gauntlet. And he looked like a really good mover. Was pretty fluid, not very stiff. He looks like a guy that could really go on day 2 of the draft. And, if we decided to draft a cornerback some point in this draft, he could be a guy that we decide to take, man, because once again, he offers that size and length that I feel like Dan Quinn and Joe Wood Jr. are looking for in one of their cornerbacks, right? So he's a guy that I feel like would fit our scheme very, very good. And once again, he offers that explosiveness along with his prototypical size and length. So watch out for Darian Porter because he's a guy that we may show a lot of interest in. Next up, I want to talk about Tulane cornerback Caleb Ransaw. Thought he looked really good today as well. He doesn't really offer that prototypical length you may look for in a cornerback. 30.75-inch arm length, so that's not amazing. He's 5'11", 197 pounds. Prototypical weight, a little small, like a little short. However, he put up great numbers at the 40-yard dash and had a really good vert and broad. Had a 40-inch broad jump and a 10.09 broad jump. Sorry, a 40-inch vertical and a 10.09 broad jump, right? So that's really good right there from Caleb Ransaw. And he ran a 4.33 40-yard dash, which is really, really good with a 151 10-yard split. So those are really good times right there from Caleb Ransaw, right? Although he doesn't offer that length that DQ and Joe Wood Jr. may be looking for, right? That's why I feel like Darian Porter, he may be a guy that may be high on their list because he offers that length, he offers that size, and he offers that explosiveness that they may be looking for in a cornerback, right? So, we'll see. But I feel like Caleb Ransaw, he had a really good day, looked pretty solid in on-the-field workouts. Not a lot of guys looked great in the gauntlet today, and I feel like Caleb Ransaw was one of the fewer guys that looked good in the gauntlet drill today, right? And, there's a reason why DBs play DB, right? There's a reason why these guys are playing DB. They can't catch, and it showed in the gauntlet drill, right? But Caleb Ransaw, he had a really good hands during the gauntlet drill and was able to stay in line on the white line while running, right? So thought he looked very, very solid today at the combine, and he may be a guy that you want to keep your eye on when it comes to the rest of this draft process. Next up for the cornerbacks, we want to talk about Quincy Riley, corner out of Louisville. Thought he had a really good day as well. I feel like he looked better, more so on the field workouts than like off the field, the measurements, the 40-yard dash. Although 4.49 40-yard dash still is pretty good. How does RES score on here? Well, there's really no score because he didn't have enough measurements, but had a 4.49 40-yard dash, which is not bad, and a 157 10-yard split, which is also not too shabby as well. 5'10", 194, 194. So a little short, right? But he does have the weight. 8.5-inch hand size, 31-inch arm length. So, not very lengthy, but still not bad arm length. He didn't test in the vertical or broad, but I feel like on the field he looked really good, very fluid in his movements. I mentioned the gauntlet drill where a lot of guys didn't really look great in the gauntlet drill, and that's not a surprise because if you're playing on defense, if you're a DB, then you most likely try to play at receiver and you just couldn't catch the ball, right? Which is why you're a DB, a cornerback, or a safety, right? So it makes sense as to why not many guys look good in that drill. However, Quincy Riley, I thought, looked really good in the gauntlet drill. Good hands, and he stayed in line as he was running, right? A lot of guys tend to drift during the gauntlet drill, but Quincy Riley, I thought, looked in line. He looked fluid in a lot of the drills, had good hip movement, and he did a good job of kind of tracking the ball in the air in some of the drills that required him to do so, right? So I thought he looked really good, and we also had a formal meeting with him already at the combine, so we're already showing interest in this guy, right? So he's a guy that you should watch out for when it comes to draft time because we may have high interest in him, especially with us already meeting with him formally. Moving on to the safeties, and there's about two guys I want to talk about in this position group, starting with Nick Emmanwori. This guy balled out at the combine, man. He's a freak. Like, he is freaky athletic, man, and we already knew this going into the combine. At least I did. Like, I knew this guy was going to test very, very well, and he tested off the charts. First of all, we got to start with the size. 6'3", 220 pounds, 32.5-inch arms. That is crazy size, right? Like, he's built. I saw Daniel Jeremiah compare him to DK Metcalf in terms of size. That's a perfect comp for him in terms of size. I could do you one better. Jeremy Chin. I look back at Jeremy Chin's combine performance. He measured in at 6'3", 221 pounds, 32 and 1/8-inch arms. He's literally Jeremy Chin in terms of size, right? Like, they're so similar in terms of size. When it comes to his vertical and broad, 43-inch vert. Let me say that again. 43-inch vertical. That is insane. And obviously he led all safeties there, right? And an 11.09 broad jump. He led all safeties again in that. That is unbelievable for a guy at his size, right? Like, this guy is an athletic freak, and he posted up a 4.4 40-yard dash. Actually, I think the official one was 4.37 or 4.38, something like that, but he ran that 4.3. He ran that 4.3, man. A 1.53 10-yard split as well. That's insane, man. Like, this guy is a physical specimen, man. He is an athletic freak. Comparing him to Jeremy Chin's combine performance back in 2020, Chin put up a 4.45 40-yard dash, 41 vert, and 11.6 broad. So very similar numbers to Jeremy Chin. Look, if you can't bring back Jeremy Chin, and I feel like we will get an extension done with Jeremy Chin, we're probably going to re-sign him. But if you somehow cannot, hey, man, I would not mind drafting Nick Emmanwori at 29 because he's going to go in the first round. After today, he's going to go in the first. And he was kind of on the fence. I know some people had him going first round, but after his performance today, yeah, he's going first round. No doubt about it. And I don't even know if he's going to be there at 29, right? He may. There's probably a good chance that he is. And if he is, I would not mind considering drafting him, right? Like, as long as Jeremy Chin isn't here, like, if Jeremy Chin is brought back, then we're probably not going to draft a guy like Nick Emmanwori in the first round. However, if we don't bring back Jeremy Chin and we need to find a replacement for him, this guy right here literally offers the exact same build and prototype as a Jeremy Chin, right? So I feel like if you don't bring back Chin, Nick Emmanwori would be a perfect replacement for him. The other guy I wanted to talk about is Billy Bauman, free safety from Oklahoma. Now, here's his RAS score on the screen right now, 7.53, which isn't too bad. Now, the main concern when it comes to Billy Bauman is really his size and length. 5'9", 192, 28.5-inch arms. That's not great. His arms are really short, right? But if you watch his tape, he is an absolute baller at the safety position. Posted up in 35.5 vert, along with a 10.03 broad jump, so not that bad right there. He had a really good 40-yard dash, though. 4.43, 1.54, 10-yard split, right? So that's a really good 40-yard dash for a safety. A lot of safeties ran like a 4.5, 4.6. So the fact that he ran under a 4.5, ran close to a 4.3, 4.43. So that is a really good time right there for Billy Bauman. And I also thought he looked really good in on-the-field drills. He looked really good in the gauntlet and other safety on-field drills as well. So he's a guy that you could target maybe on day 3 because he's probably going to go on day 3. So he may be a guy that if you want to bring in like a third safety to your room or round out your safety room, he's a guy that you can consider targeting because he does have a good amount of potential, in my opinion. Moving on to the tight ends, and honestly, the tight ends were kind of uninspiring today, athletically wise, like athleticism wise. Not a lot of guys impressed me, but there was one guy that I wanted to talk about that did impress me, and that was LSU tight end Mason Taylor. He was really good today. He didn't run a 40, but he looked really, really good in on-the-field drills. I watched his gauntlet little run. He stayed on the line. He didn't drift whatsoever. Like, he was going straight on the white line, man. He was catching everything. Didn't drop a single pass. He looked really good in the gauntlet drill. When they had to, like, push the bag, he looked really good there. And in other drills as well, man. He looked really smooth as a route runner. Mason Taylor, man, I'm interested. I'm very interested in him. Obviously, he has the LSU connection to Jaden. So there's that right there if you want to take that into account on whether or not we could potentially draft him. This is a loaded tight end class, and I expect Mason Taylor to go on day 2 of the draft. I wouldn't even be shocked if he went in like round 2 because of how good he is. He was really productive at LSU and presents a lot of traits that I feel like can be translated to the NFL, right? So Mason Taylor is a really good tight end. Now, will we draft the tight end even after drafting Ben Sinnott last year? There's definitely a possibility now. We could also bring back Zach Ertz, right? So they may not feel the need to draft the tight end. However, in a loaded tight end class with loads of talent, and not a lot of the top guys participated in the draft or the combine today, sorry. Tyler Warren, he didn't practice, right? Tyler, or what's his name, Elijah Arroyo from Miami, he didn't take part in workouts. And one more guy as well. I know Harold Fannin participated. There were other guys that didn't participate as well. So not a lot of guys participated in workouts today among the tight ends. But Mason Taylor, he really stood out to me. And he's a guy that I feel like if we want to look for a tight end in this draft, he's a guy that we should definitely consider targeting on day 2 of the draft. So that's it for today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're not already subbed up. Turn on notifications. Comment down below what prospects impressed you today from day 2 of the Combine. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.